Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including today. Tubi's making some big changes to its local news and its channel lineup. We'll tell you everything you need to know about that. There's a new effort by the FTC to stop junk fees, not just from cable TV, but from hotels and all kinds of other places. There's a petition you can sign to help express your support for what they're trying to do this month. We'll let you know about that. And Fubo had a very good fourth quarter. We're going to break down everything happening with Fubo and some potential major problems at Fubo here in a second. First though, if you want to learn more about these stories and the others we're about to talk about, check out the show notes down below and in the first pinned comment. I'll put a link to each story there so you can read them for yourself and come up with your own opinions. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, let YouTube know you enjoy what we do here so YouTube recommends our videos to more people, helping us grow, helping us support our channel, and hopefully helping you break free from the high cost of television. All right, let's dive into it. Tubi on Friday confirmed to Cord Cutters News that there's a system software update. No, that is not the news. Let's back out of here real quick. Apparently I'll need to manually do that after this. But Tubi confirmed to Cord Cutters News that on last week they made changes to their local news. Previously, if you were a Tubi user, you went into Tubi, they included local Fox News affiliates. Not Fox News channels, but the local Fox News programming from the local Fox News stations in each market. You could be in Michigan and look at a Florida station's news, for example. I love this kind of thing. When we lived in Texas and we were heading back up to see family in Michigan, sometimes I would watch local news through these apps to see what the weather was going to be the week we were in Michigan visiting family. Well, Tubi is now set up so that it's only going to show you local news for your market. So if you live in a particular market, here in West Michigan, for example, I'll see news in West Michigan. I can no longer access news for Florida. Exactly why this change is happening is unknown, but it does mean that, once again though, you're only going to get local news through your local station. Now, there are other apps. Fox has several apps, or there is other ones like Haystack News or News On, Local Now, that does offer news from around the country, not just your own market. So you can check those out. But Tubi is going to start restricting that. This comes as Tubi's rolling out an app update with a new look and a new feel on it. Not a whole lot different with it, other than the branding and the logo are now different. The overall color palette is, instead of just more of a black, is more of a purplish background on many pages. You can find out more about this story in the show notes down below. All right, there's a new effort to get rid of junk fees. FTC this month in March will hold a vote on eliminating what they call junk fees. Now, this will be heavily targeted at cable television, but will also hit things like hotels and other places. And this is the practice of advertising a specific price. For example, saying, hey, $69 or $49 for a TV package. What they don't say is, while they list like local ABCs and maybe a regional sports network, they failed to include in that price the regional sports network fee and the broadcast television fee. We've seen those add up $30, $40+ when you do these fees. So you may say, hey, I'm paying $60, but when you're done, your bill is actually over $100 before you even look at things like taxes being added. I've always had a real issue with those two because you're advertising those channels as part of the package, but then you say, well, there's an extra fee that was not included in that advertised price. Hotels do this too. You got those resort fees and other fees that come on here that are not tax related. Yes, most of that though is taxes, and the resort fees are typically for the bigger resorts, places you get out there with this. But the FTC is basically looking at a rule that would force these companies to include those fees in the advertised rates and to basically ban them. FCC is also looking at similar rules that would require, specifically for them, cable television companies to fully disclose upfront in the pricing these hidden fees. I love this. I hope they pass this. I think, it's, if you're advertising a price and you're advertising it to include channels, you can't say, well, because it includes those channels and you can't opt out of those channels, you have to pay this extra fee. If those channels were optional, and if I said, well, I don't need my locals because I have an antenna, or I don't care about regional sports networks like Bally Sports or NBC Sports, I don't want them, then I don't pay for them. That's one thing. But because they're mandatory and included in the package, that really should be part of the advertised price, in my personal opinion. I'd love to hear you on what you think for that. But there is a petition out there to show your support. I have a link to it in our story down below. And that'll go to the FTC to show them that, hey, a lot of people want this. Don't pay attention to what those cable companies are telling you. All right, last Friday, Fubo released its fourth quarter earnings. Had a pretty good one, 141,000 new subscribers in the fourth quarter. This comes after a little bit of an up and down year in 2023 where they lost a little bit early and then added quite a few subscribers later in the year. Now, again here though, Fubo is continuing to burn a lot of money. They still lost money, though they're starting to talk about they believe they have a path to profitability. We'll see how that comes. I've talked about this a lot. A lot of investors are cutting back on support for companies in the streaming world unless they think that there's a path to profitability. So that's very important for Fubo. It used to be investors would happily burn money into streaming because they saw that as the future. Now they're starting to say, hey, I'm ready to see my return on profit for this money I'm investing in there. So we'll keep a very close eye on this. Fubo also grew internationally, but saw a 12% growth year over year in subscribers and 29% improvement in revenue growth year over year. And they hope to become profitable. Now, Fubo also said they're very concerned about the future. They called this new sports package streaming service that's going to come out this fall from Fox, Disney, and Warner Bros. Discovery, basically a cartel that could damage their business model. Basically, it's similar arguments to what they've said about this lawsuit in the past, saying that these companies have deliberately negatively impacted them, causing them harm. We'll see how this plays out, but Fubo is being very clear that they believe that there is a important step forward here, that they feel that there's going to be a way to profitability. We'll keep a very close eye on this. I won't lie, I do believe that they are in a very dangerous position. They market themselves as a sports one. If the vast majority of people can get their sports cheaper through this Warner Bros. Discovery, Fox, and Disney joint collaboration, that'll give you access to 16 sporting networks, which do include in that your local ABC and Fox. And then you could get Peacock and Paramount Plus to fill in the rest. If that's cheaper, they may be in serious trouble. We'll keep a close eye on this. We'll have to wait until we learn more about that bundle before we can say definitively that this is a bundle that would put Fubo in trouble. But let me know, are you a Fubo customer? Would you switch to a cheaper sports-only package directly from the providers? Or do you care about the other channels like ESPN, our sister network Disney, or Fox's sister Fox News, and the others? You know, Fubo already doesn't have TNT and TBS, so the Warner Bros. Discovery content would be an addition on top of their Sport One. So let me know what you think. All right, the United Kingdom has passed a bill that will try to regulate American streaming services in a few years. So the United Kingdom has come out with a rule that basically says streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus and others must submit to the guidelines related to quality and appropriateness of content being aired in the United Kingdom. These are similar rules that the BBC must follow. Netflix has already come out saying this could hurt their potential to create documentaries and other content that maybe the British government does not like. They're not happy with having to censor their catalog in the United Kingdom there. Now, already some services have threatened to maybe pull out or make significantly large changes to their service related to this rule. But the UK has given 2 years for its new media bill until it goes in effect in 2026. So streaming services have until 2026, but they're very cautious about being regulated by the United Kingdom government for what they do. Canada's also put some rules in here also to regulate streaming services and the content there. That's raised eyebrows within the United States. They're very concerned at these companies about international governments trying to tell U.S. streaming services what they can do. Now, United Kingdom says, well, you're offering your service here. We'll keep a close eye on this. Could we see the United Kingdom or services there be blocked? Could Netflix say, hey, we're just not going to offer it in the United Kingdom? Probably not. They would really love to keep that market. It's probably a pretty large market for them. But they are concerned that they're now going to have to get approval for their content basically in the United Kingdom. If you want to learn more about this story, check out show note link in the show notes down below. All right, next up, we have everything new. A new thing we're doing on the website. James has a breakdown of everything new this week on Max, Hulu, Paramount Plus, and Disney Plus. Probably add more networks in the future. But if you want to see everything coming this week there, you can check out a link in the show notes down below for a full list. And also, in a story not directly cord cutting related, but a cord cutting tie-in here, so hang in here with me. Air Canada's had an AI chatbot improperly give a return policy. It basically told a customer that you would get a refund in a way that wasn't actually in the return policy. That customer says they acted based on what that chatbot told them, that they would get a refund if they did it this way. They didn't, they sued, and now a court has ruled that Air Canada must honor what its AI chatbot told this customer it would do in the email transcript. This is important. AI chatbots are being used more and more to cut down on costs of customer service agents. Problem being here is when they work great, they're great, but what happens if they give you wrong information? Many streaming services are starting to use them too. We saw a very famous incident where somebody was able to basically trick an AI chatbot into selling it a brand new vehicle for a crazy low price. And the company nixed that deal, said, oh, well, that chatbot didn't have permission to do that. Well, now courts are starting to come together and say, hey, if you used an AI chatbot on a streaming service or on any platform and that AI chatbot tells a customer something, you must honor it. That may make companies much less willing to actually use AI chatbots. We'll have to keep a very close eye on this story. I think this is going to be a case that we're going to see over and over until we see a bigger set of laws that regulate this. And of course, AI chatbots will increasingly get better and maybe not make mistakes like promise returns when they actually, the terms of service says they shouldn't get a refund for a product, for example. But keep an eye on this. Especially with streaming and basically all businesses, AI chatbots are becoming more prevalent. And now companies are being asked, how responsible are you for what your AI chatbot does? Let me know what you think about that. Do you think companies should be held liable for the AI chatbots if they incorrectly give information? Or do you think companies should be able to say, hey, that was actually a mistake by that computer software. No, we do not have a return policy like that. Let me know what you think. All right, question of the day. Now, every day I try to answer a question here. If you have a question for me, leave a comment down below and start it off with something like a question for Luke. I may answer it in the comments. I may answer it here. If I don't answer your question, re-ask it, because often I get a bunch after I record today's video. So remind me again for tomorrow if you want to re-ask a question. Now, over the weekend, Roku started a new terms of service push out that forced you to mandatorily accept it. Check out yesterday's video for a full breakdown. Part of it was updates, arbitration, and waiving your class action lawsuit clause. Roku's not alone in this. Many companies have these arbitration rules that say you can't sue, you must go through arbitration. So the question today is about Roku, but I'm going to bring it out to all tech companies and why companies do this in general. Why is it that companies are pushing arbitration? Why aren't they instead allowing you to go through the court system? Is how I'm going to sum up these questions. I've got a few people ask me this similar question. Why is Roku, why is everybody asking you to agree to arbitration instead of a lawsuit? Well, in short, it's cheaper. Arbitration is significantly cheaper. There's less discovery, less procedures you have to go through. With it, they're often a lot faster, which also keeps lawyer costs down. And that's why companies use arbitration. For one, it's not quite as far reaching than a lawsuit. For two, it saves them a lot of money versus having 30,000 lawsuits in different states. That's why they say you have to agree to arbitration, and arbitration needs to be where we live, not where you live. Now, just because a company has an arbitration clause doesn't mean a judge can't throw it out and still allow a class action lawsuit to go through. But it does make it a lot harder, for example. Why do companies do this? It's all about money. It really just comes down to money. It's cheaper. It's easier. They don't have to worry about sending lawyers out to 30 different states. Their lawyers may not be licensed in that state, so now they got to go hire a law firm in that state, and the list goes on and on. So that's why tech companies are doing it. Right or wrong? Not getting into that. Just explaining why tech companies push arbitration. Well, that's it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll be back again tomorrow with another video. Take care, be safe, and to the about 6,000 new subscribers we gained in the last week, welcome. I really do appreciate your support.